When I was in first grade, a bunch of my friends and I were playing hopscotch during recess, and each one of the squares had like numbers on them, and it was like numbered 1 through 10. And then each time we jumped on one, we had to say the number out loud. I remember when I jumped on it, I couldn't say the number. My teacher noticed and pulled me out to the side, and she made me count to 10. And I just remember I had such a hard time trying to do that for some reason. And ever since that day, I knew I was different. When I was 10 years old, I was diagnosed with dyslexia and ADD. Growing up, I felt like a lab rat. I would be going through so much testing and pulled out of class all the time 24/7 just so the teachers can figure out what was wrong with me. I would always ask myself, why aren't the other kids doing this? Why just me? I would watch the other kids learn things so quickly and pick things up so fast. And it just confused me in how I was having such a hard time, but they weren't. It was like everybody had this really cool superpower, except for me. I'd say my hardest years were my 4th and 5th grade years, only because of the dyslexia and ADD, but kids were starting to bully me for it. They would call me names like stupid and dumb, and then they would ask me like math questions that I didn't know how to answer, and laugh at my face when I couldn't answer them. It was humiliating. It was like every aspect of my life was affected by it. I couldn't even play video games on the Wii because I couldn't read anything. It was hard for me to watch TV on the guide. I couldn't read anything on there. Reading was just one of the worst subjects for me because I just couldn't read at all. All the other kids would be reading the biggest books like Harry Potter, and I would be reading books for kids in kindergarten as a 5th grader. One of the biggest things that were definitely helpful for me in my whole situation was YouTube. I discovered YouTube about 6th grade, and I started watching gaming videos on YouTube. And I would come home from a really hard day at school, and I would sit on my iPad and just watch a lot of YouTube videos, and it just made me laugh so much. And to this day, I still watch a lot of YouTube because it's just one of my safe havens at this point. One of the things that pushed me a lot was athletics. I was involved in a lot of sports growing up. I did softball and dance and basketball, and those definitely helped me out in my education because it just made me active and it just helped my brain work a lot more. And then when I got into high school, I tried out for the basketball team for my freshman year, and I ended up not making the team at all. And that point, I kind of just realized how much I didn't like sports at all. And then when my junior year came around, I wanted to be in theater. So then I joined my theater show, spring musical, Sweeney Todd, in my junior year. And after that, that was kind of the secret to everything. When we found out that we don't need sports to keep me active and keep my education okay, it's like, as long as I'm doing something that I like, I will do better in school. And that's exactly how it worked out. I loved theater. I would go to rehearsals every day after school, and I would come back to school every morning, and I would just do phenomenal. And it was definitely life-changing for me to realize how much theater was really, really fun for me. I had a great time being part of that production.
I first realized something was wrong with Samantha when I sent her to preschool, and the teacher called and thought that she was deaf.
I remember the first time where I thought you were struggling is when you were playing softball and you weren't understanding on what to go first, where to go to second, how to throw the ball, which way to go. That's when I, actually noticed I'm struggling, but you've come a long way. We never thought anything was wrong with you until your preschool teacher said that you were deaf. That was the hardest thing for me because you're telling me my child's deaf and we think nothing's wrong with you. And then once we went to all the doctors and all the tests, and then you had all the trouble in elementary, that was the hardest part because we never thought anything was wrong with you. So for the longest time, we thought all the teachers were wrong.
The thing that I was most scared of was when the teacher told me that they weren't sure that she would be able to live on her own ever, and that she'd have to be in some kind of assisted living because she was not able to read or write or communicate with people correctly. And that was based on misdiagnosis. So they had us sign up for Social Security benefits, which never went through anyway. But that was definitely being misdiagnosed was super troubling.
When I knew you were going to be okay was when you finally got into middle school and people started understanding. The teachers actually stepped up and helped us out to understand what was going on with you. And actually that there was programs for you to help you out. You know, and then watching you just progress. I mean, watching you become you. I mean, you know, you had a hard time learning. You had a hard time just understanding what people were doing. Things happened real fast and you weren't catching on. But look at you now.
We would never give up on her because we knew how awesome she was and how much she would excel just by getting into middle school. When they diagnosed her correctly, how things changed so quickly for her. And then everything just made sense. And then we knew that you were going to be okay and that you would be able to be successful and happy in your life. Just getting the right diagnosis was a huge situation for us. So that definitely gave us good.
It was a long road to get the right diagnosis, though.
That was a hard part.
From preschool to elementary, then all of a sudden junior high just changed. So we got to give those teachers some credit to even actually they did something right.
Yeah, Silver Hill Middle School teachers saved us with helping us get that.
And legacy.
The
legacy teachers have been awesome.
So good.
But seeing you grow up to a beautiful woman that you are now and being successful and actually enjoying life, you have no complaints. I mean, you're just a good kid. And I love you.
We're just so proud to watch you grow up to be this. And you've come so far. So proud of you.
You can absolutely do whatever you want to do as long as you put your mind to it. And don't let this little disability hold you back from what you want to do in the future. But now that I'm about to graduate high school and I'm gonna live on my own and pursue this video thing, it's crazy that I've overcome so many challenges in my life to be the point where I am now. And I'm excited to see where the future holds.